All right, so I believe this is the stage we were at last time when I was working on this picture. We have a background image. Remember, with your background image, if you want to change the direction that it's going, up at the top when you're on this arrange tool, you can flip your image horizontally. That'll give you the mirror image right to left, or you can flip it vertically, which gives you the mirror image top to bottom. On top of that in the layers panel, we have the picture of the person. Then I have the picture of the farm field, which remember, in order to get that to fade into the picture of the person, I'm using the overlay blend mode, and I set the transparency down. Then I don't see anything on this layer. And then the top layer is that layer that's the combine, which has the screen blend mode. So remember, these blend modes, you can flip through a bunch of them and see how it affects your picture. And this transparency is how see-through that is. Remember, with the double exposure picture, what we want is to look like we have one picture that's taken on top of another picture. Then I have it's a farmer with all kinds of different farm things in the foreground, the person. And then the background of my picture, I wanted to contrast. So I got a picture in the city so that it makes viewers kind of think about what I'm trying to say, and it's not this person just out on a farm. I think it's a little bit more interesting to have two different situations going on. The next part of the program that I want to show you guys is this adjustment filter. So if I'm on one of my layers, let's say I'm on my background layer in my layers panel, I can go up to adjustment. And let's say maybe I want the background to not be as bright of colors. I want it to be primarily black and white. I can click into vibrance, and I can slide this vibrance towards the left. And now you can see my background picture is almost entirely black and white. If I click and hold down on this bottom left-hand corner, that's going to show me the original. And when I let go, it's going to show me my adjusted version. If I wanted to make it super colorful, like neon colors, I could take this and drag it all the way to the right. And again, this is adjusting whichever layer I have selected in my layers panel. So I'm going to bring this down so it's not quite so colorful, bring that vibrance down, and when it's how you like it, you click apply. There's a lot of different things you can adjust, so you can play around with these different, let's say maybe the color balance I want to look at. If I want a lot more reds in my picture, I can take this red and slide it to the right, and it's going to start tinting my entire picture with the reds. Again, whatever layer you have selected over here on your layers panel is the only layer that it's going to be affecting. So if I want this background, let's say to stay with this reds, and then maybe I want this person to have more greens, I could look up my color balance and I could add more greens or less greens. I could add more reds if I want them to kind of match but all be tinted red. And you can play around with these different settings. The midtones up at the range is going to be most of the colors in the picture. The shadows are going to be the darkest areas in the picture. And the highlights are going to be the lightest areas in the picture. And you can adjust them all separately. And remember, you can click and hold this bottom left-hand corner, and that will let you see the before and after based on your adjustments. If you don't like how you've adjusted it, you can always click cancel and it will go back to how it was before. You can also go back in your history panel on the lower right hand side. Maybe I decided I don't like what I did in this background picture. I can go back in my background picture to what I originally started with. Remember, as soon as you exit out of this picture, this history panel will go away and it will come up fresh the next time, but you can't go back in your history after you've closed your file. If you want to add different elements on top, you can also. So if I click on layer, I can go to add element layer. Let's say maybe I want to add an overlay. The ones that have the yellow with the crown are premium ones. You cannot use those with the free version of the software. But there should be plenty to choose from with the free version. Let's say I'm choosing blue-green. Maybe I want to choose this one. And you'll see that appears on your picture as you click it. You can change the transparency of this. You can rotate it. So you can rotate it right or left. You can flip it vertically or horizontally. And then when you close this, over here, you can see all of these layers in my layers panel say image under them, except for this one that's placed as an element instead of an image. That's something that's just going over the other things. Also, right now I have this element just over my background picture. So you can't actually see these dots. Let me make this so you can see them a little bit better. So if you look at this picture, you can see it's on top of my background image, but it's below the picture of the person. So you won't see any of it on top of my person unless I drag this up to the top of my layers panel. Then you'll start seeing those dots on top of the person. So remember, everything in this program, when you look at the layers panel, if it's on the top, it's going to be the first thing you see. As you go down the layers panel, anything above these layers at the bottom will show and it will cover up what's on the layers here. If you make something and you don't like it, remember you can either turn it off on the right hand side, or you can go to those three dots and you can click that you want to delete that layer. So just to review, we use the adjustment layers, and there's a lot of different things that you can adjust. Within that, just experiment with all of the different menus. And then to add that element layer, I went to layer, add element layer. Let's say maybe you want to add a sticker to your design. You can choose from stickers, and when you click on them, they'll appear in your picture. And then you can move them and resize them as you need to for your design. Don't forget at the end, make sure that you go up to File and Save. Make sure you're saving this as a PXZ or a PXD. That's the file type that will save all these individual layers. And then you click download. And once it downloads, remember to move this into your Google Drive. So if it's just in your downloads, your Chromebook is going to delete it when it needs to free up space. So make sure that every time you download it, you're dragging it into your Google Drive folder so that you'll have it in the future if it's not saved just on the software.